morning, everybody. How are you doing? My plan today, I gathered up all the stuff I need, was to work on the big bandsaw. However, we have some nasty weather coming through the area, and I'm not going to put my car out in the driveway for that. So the bandsaw is on hold. I do have another project to work on. Let me show you what I'm going to be working on today. Back when I was making cooler boxes out of pallets, I made 3 cooler boxes and I sold them, and I had enough to make one more. So right there, I cut out everything needed for a cooler box. I never got around to putting it together. My plan was to do a video on it because I've done a couple videos about building them and finishing them, but I never did one about actually showing the build. And it's one of my most popular videos. I've had request after request. How'd you do it? Show us how to do it. Well, this right here is a list of all of those wood, the dimensions of all of that wood. And what I'm going to do is, now I will let you know that I cut that wood, like if I needed 25 inches, I cut it to 25 and a half because I was just, chopping just to get the pieces so I could clear out all the garbage. What I'll do is as I go back and build it, I'll trim it to the proper size and I'll amend that parts list to the exact size. And I'm going to build one more cooler box. Well, I've been working pretty hard. I took a little side trip to work on something else, but I'm back. Let me show you what I've got done so far. These are the 4 legs that support the cooler box. They've been drying in clamps for about an hour, so I'm ready now to go ahead and remove the clamps and start building the frame for the box. Well, guys, I've been working for a while, and I realized I have not done an update, so let me flip around and show you how the cooler box is looking. There she is. I think it's looking really nice. I've got the box built. This will be the front of it. Isn't that beautiful, that wood? I've got the frame in there that supports the cooler. I just started installing the rails. I got the front and the back rail. I don't know if you can see there's the back one, but I don't have the side rails over there installed yet for the shelf. I think as soon as I get the side rails installed, I'm going to have to stop because, let me show you something. Look at this wood down here. I got some beautiful wood down here. Isn't that gorgeous? That Maranta is just, it's beautiful. The designs in it, look at that. And what I'm going to do is, I need to get a cooler because I build the top of the box around the cooler. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll finish the brackets on the shelf, and then I'm going to call it quits on that for tonight. I'll get a cooler next chance, and then I'll put the cooler in. I'll build the top around the cooler. Those boards on the floor, I want to pick the nicest looking ones for the top because that's what you're going to see. Then the next set of nice ones, the shelf that I'm installing, I'll put those on the shelf because as you look down, you'll kind of see those. And whatever's left over, we'll call those the scrub boards. They'll go on the bottom to cover up the rack that is supposed to hide, or I'm sorry, support the, they're going to hide the rack that supports the cooler. So, whew, it was a mouthful. So I'm making good progress. I'm super happy with where I'm at with it. I just wish I had the cooler. Well, I've put the cooler box up for the night. I got it sitting here beside the table saw. As soon as I can get my hands on a cooler, I'll finish her up. But I really need the cooler for the dimensions. I've cleaned off the top of my table saw and I've brought over a couple of boxes of cutoffs. I think what I'm going to do is goof off a little bit with my sled. I've got it laying right here. And I'm just going to experiment and try to make a couple of blanks. I really don't want to do a video until I've figured out the best way to make the blanks because there are certain things to take into account. For example, if you just take a blank and toss it up on there and you cut it at a 30-degree angle and then you glue it to another piece of wood, well, you're now presenting that wood at 30 degrees to the turning blade. You don't want to do that because on a spindle, your grain is going horizontal. And if you present it at a 30-degree angle, you got grain going this way, and then you've got grain going this way. It's almost like cutting in grain. And what happens is it tends to chip out. It tends to make it more difficult to turn a pin. So I want to kind of experiment and goof off with some of these cutoffs in an effort to see what I can do. Because I think what I'm going to have to do is take the wood and cut the wood at a 30-degree angle and then put it on the sled and cut it, which will take it back to, let's call it 90 degrees. And I know it gets kind of silly, but you got to figure all that geometry out before you make a blank. Otherwise, you do what I did in the early days and you waste a ton of wood. So I'm going to try to figure some things out. And once I do, I'd like to make a couple videos for you guys on making some blanks with these 2 sleds I put together. So let me get back at it. We'll see what we can come up with. I'll keep you guys posted. Well, guys, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm experimenting with my segmenting sled, and I just made this blank. It's kind of cool. It's got some spectra ply in the middle and some spalted wood on the outside. It's tubed, and it's ready to go to the lathe. I'll be putting it there real soon. I've got another blank I started on. See this one here? Take a look at the orange and blue. I accidentally cut the angle wrong. I wanted to have on this side, I wanted to have the lines alternate, you know, like this one did, to where you've got lines that way and then, whoops, lines that way. So, you know, it didn't work out quite like I expected, but it was a learning experience. It's kind of fun. You got to really think about it, you know, to cut it right. But I'm going to take this over to the lathe. I'm going to turn it up and see what it looks like. Well, guys, I got it turned all the way down, and I started sanding, and it came apart, which tells me that the CA glue that I used, which it was real kind of gummy. I knew that it was old, but the CA glue was no good. So this pin is actually fixable. What I can do is take another piece of the spalted wood. I can go ahead and cut it at the 30-degree angle. I can drill it, and I can slide it onto the tube and glue it back on there, and it should work fine because the Spectra ply is not damaged at all. It's kind of neat, kind of a neat effect. It's a cool looking pin. Will I fix it? I don't know. Maybe. You know, I'll have to just wait and see. And really, I won't even attempt to fix it until I get some more medium CA, because I guarantee that stuff is shot. Looking pretty cool though. Well, it's getting kind of late in the evening. I think it's about time for me to call it quits. I'm going to pick a few things up here just to kind of straighten the shop up, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. It's supposed to be, we're getting a lot of ice and snow tonight, so I doubt we'll go anywhere tomorrow, so that's a good sign that I probably will get some time in the shop. I think I'm going to goof around with the sled a little bit more. I would really like to make some blanks, but instead of using CA, I think I'm going to have to take the time and use wood glue to really let them, you know, really let things glue up and set real well. Like I said, my CA, it's been setting since February, so it's pretty, and it was an open bottle, so it's pretty rank right now. So, it is what it is. Guys, have a great evening. I'll talk to you later, and probably talk to you tomorrow. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe I'll get guts enough up to actually make a video of making one of these segmented blanks. Take care. Have a great evening.